Ed Rollins, I want to go to you first. The Republicans just won an election big time in November. They think it was about spending. But the president has made the calculation. Those guys, I can go out and say when it comes to education, investing in infrastructure, that the economy needs my way, and those guys are too extreme. Who's going to win?
I think we're going to win. And I think what the president did today is he put his little toe in the water, in the cold water. He didn't jump in. And I think at the end of the day, we're all going to have to jump into the cold water to basically get this budget back on track. When you're talking about spending over $50 billion on rapid trains, at the same time you're talking about cutting the subsidies for Amtrak, for the one railroad system that is rapid trains, the Northeast Corridor, there's an inconsistency there. I think he put forth a political document that he can go sell his ideas, but it's dead on arrival.
Is it, remember, Barack Obama came to Washington saying he was not going to play the old Washington games. There are many people, even Democrats, who agree with that on the political document part of it, saying this is a placeholder. He wants to let the Republicans go first in the House, let them do Social Security, let them do Medicare, let them take the risks before him. Is that fair?
No, I think it's fair because you're also making it clear they have to have a hand in this. You can't just stand now outside and say, oh, it's all on you. They now control the House, so therefore they also have to make those very tough decisions. We have to own up to something. The American people love to say we want to see the deficit brought down. We don't want any more tax increases, but we also don't want the stuff that we like cut. And so he's going to tell Republicans, okay, are you going to cut defense? Are you going to confront Social Security and Medicaid? But Democrats also don't want to touch their favorite two issues, Social Security and Medicaid. Both are going to have to confront that. This budget also has some serious problems. He's slashing 50% of the funding going to community groups, the money going to those mayors, community development block grant funds. And so he needs them talking up his budget priorities. But when you're cutting what they also like, that's also a problem locally.
Politically, Ed, he does have some liberals saying, how can you cut low-income heating assistance for people, in the winter? Obviously, the budget wouldn't take effect, but we're in winter now when he proposes it. How can you cut, as Roland notes, the community block grants? And so you have some of the left saying, oh, my God, Mr. President, how can you do this? You have some of the right saying he's not doing enough. I suspect that the White House heading into a re-election campaign, they like that spot.
Sure they do. They're right down the center. At the end of the day, if you're serious about budget cut, both sides put pieces into these budgets over the years, and both sides are going to have to take it apart. You can't have one group basically being penalized and the other group not. And I think to a certain extent, just as we did in the early 80s when we reformed the Social Security, just as we did when with the base closings, which is a very painful decision across this country, you did it together. And my sense at the end of the day, you're going to have to get some across-the-board cuts, and when you're going to have a revenue change, a new tax system in which there's new revenue added, not necessarily the words tax increases, but new revenues added.
Can't say that word.
John, I did want to, on the whole issue of LIHEAP, because folks have been talking about that, cutting money to the poor. I talked to the White House before getting here. In 2008, we were spending about $2.5 billion. The Obama administration thought with energy prices going up, they moved that money to $5.1 billion. When the prices stabilized and frankly stayed consistent, that's why they're bringing it back down to $2.5 billion level. So people are saying, oh, you're cutting money for the poor. No, it was dramatically increased, expecting energy prices to go up, but it didn't happen.
They just want to keep that money there, though. That's one of the understandable.